Alright, so question 37, it says the sum of every 5 numbers in the number pattern below forms a new number pattern. So you have 3, 9, 15, 21, and 27. Question says write the first 3 numbers in the new pattern and describe the pattern. So the first thing that we see here is that the instruction is very simple, but it's for marks. So we need to pay attention to that. So it says if sum of every 5 numbers in the number pattern forms a new pattern. So the sum means that we need to add up these first 5 numbers here in this pattern. Okay, so when we add them up, we get 75. Therefore, 75 is the first term in the new pattern. Now, in order to find out what are the other numbers, we need to follow this sequence. We need to follow this pattern and see what happens. So as we go from 3 to 9, we realize we go up by 6. From 9 to 15, we go up by 6. 15 to 21, we go up by 6. 21 to 27, we go up by 6. So guess what? The rest of the number patterns will be going up by 6. So we need to find out now what numbers will come after 27, right? And go beyond to give us another 5 numbers so that we can add it up and get the second number or the second term in the new pattern. So from 27, I'm going to add on 6 and then I'm going to get 33, then 39, 45, 52, 57. So that now is going to give me enough information to get the second term in the new pattern. So I'm going to add up these second 5 terms, right? So all of these here, I'm going to add it up and then we're going to get 225. Therefore, 225 is the second term in the new pattern. But what did they ask us for? They asked us for the first 3 numbers. So now after 57, I'm going to continue the same pattern and I'm going to add on 6 over here. So that's going to give me 63, then 69, 75, 81, and 87. So again, same procedure, I'm going to add up these 5 numbers. So the sum of the third 5 numbers, or the third 5 terms, right, when we add it up, we're going to get 375. Therefore, 375 is a new term in the new pattern. So the new pattern now would be 75, 225, and 375. And they said to describe the pattern, so if we look at the difference between 75 and 225, we see 150. If we look at the difference between 225 and 375, we also see 150. So it's safe enough to say that each term increases by 150. All right, and that's your 4-mark question. All right, let's look at question 38. It says the average mass of the 4 solids A, B, C, and D shown below is 1.5 kilograms. The average mass of solids A and B is 1.6 kilograms. So the information that we have so far is that the masses of these 4 solids, when we add them up and divide it by 4, we'll get 1.5 as the average. And then they told us the average of just these 2 solids here, A and B, to be 1.6. The mass of solid C is 3 times the mass of solid D. What is the mass of solid C and D in terms of grams? So what we need to find out here is the actual values of C and D, and also we need to convert it from kilograms to grams. So the first step that we have to do, let's write the information that we have and just make note of it in terms of the formula so we'll see what we have to find. So they said if the average mass of 4 solids is 1.5, then we can rewrite this now as average is equal to the sum of the masses, which is from these 4, divided by a total number of solids. When we put in the information into the formula, 1.5 will be the average that they give us, is equal to the sum of the masses. So replace it with x because we don't know what it is as yet. And we know that we are dividing by 4 because the total number of solids is 4. To find the total mass, we're going to multiply the average, which is this 1.5, by the total number of solids, which is 4. So 1.5 by 4 will give us 6 kilograms. So what that means is that when we add up the mass of these 4 solids, we're going to get 6 kilograms. Now, if the average mass of A and B is 1.6, then we can write it again in terms of the formula, being the average is equal to the sum of masses divided by a total number of solids. In this case, we'll be dividing by 2 because we're only referring to A and B. So what this will do is give us the actual value, the actual mass of A and B. Okay, So to find out the sum of the masses, we're going to multiply the average by the total number of solids, which will be 1.6 multiplied by 2 to give us 3.2 kg. So that means that the total mass of A and B is 3.2. Now let's get all the information that we need and what we have, and let's lay it out. So what we have so far is that A and B plus C and D will give us a total of 6 kilograms. We know that A and B so far is 3.2. So in order to find C and D, we can just take it away from the total. So we get 6 take away 3.2 to give us a total of 2.8 kg. Now the mass of solid C is what? It is 3 times the mass of solid D. So that means that the 2.8 that we got here as a remainder has to be divided into 4 equal parts. Why 4? Because D is 1 part and C has to be 3 times that of D. Okay, that's where we get that 4 from. So if the 4 parts would be 2.8 kg in total, then we want to find 1 part. So 1 part would be 2.8 divided by 4 to give us 0.7 kg. Therefore, that would mean that the mass of C, right, would be 0.7 multiplied by 3 to give us 2.1 kilograms. And then the mass of D would be 0.7 by 1 to give us 0.7 kilograms. Now, the important part here is that they tell you to put your answer in terms of grams. So we have to do that conversion. So here we're going to put 2.1 multiplied by 1,000 to give us 2,100 grams, and then 0.7 kg. When we multiply this by 1,000, we'll get 700 grams. So once you give your answer in the right unit that I asked for, as well as show your working, you'll be able to obtain your 4 marks for this question. Question 39. On the grid paper below, draw the quadrilateral with 1 pair of parallel sides, 1 line of symmetry, and the straight line that joins the points A and B at its base. So the first thing we have to do is draw the parallel line. So I label this line 1. Then we are going to connect that line to points A and B as labeled. So I label them 2 and 3 respectively. So you realize that here we are forming a quadrilateral, right? So we have this line AB, we drew this parallel line, and then we connected the sides, right? It says complete the drawing using the straight line that joins the points A and B as a line of symmetry, and describe the completed plane shape in terms of its angle, sides, and lines of symmetry. Okay, and before we do that, there's one part that says 1 line of symmetry. So let's put in this line of symmetry. So the only line of symmetry that can come in here is this line CD, because whatever I have on this side, I'll have it on this side. Okay, now we move on to part 4. We're going to use the line AB, that's this line here, as our new line of symmetry, or our mirror line. So whatever I have on this side, I'm going to have it on this side as well. Okay, so now my diagram is going to look like this. So if we look at the shape, it's actually very symmetrical. So this side where I have lines 1, 2, and 3, I've drawn the same thing on the other side of line AB, so it looks like a mirror image. Okay, and then it says to describe it. So the shape formed is what? It's a hexagon that consists of 6 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hexagons have 6 sides and 6 equal angles, right? So these angles inside here, and it has 2 lines of symmetry, a vertical line, which is CD, and this vertical line here as well, AB. Okay, sorry, this horizontal line, AB. All right, last question. 5 students ran 60-meter sprint races at Seaview Primary School. The time students took to complete the sprint races are shown in the table below. So we have students Troy, Andy, Jesse, Stacy, and Chris. So we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth sprints, and then their average, right? And they give us their times in seconds. It says, based on the information given in the table above, state 3 reasons why an average is not a good measure to select a student to represent the school in a 60-meter sprint race, and select a student to represent the school giving your reason. Now, first thing we have to do here, we have to look at the values in the table. We are looking at sprints, right? Your first all the way down to your fifth sprint. Now remember that a sprint is something that we have to do fast. Okay, this is not a long race you're running. This is a very short race. So it's something that you want to be completing in a very short space of time. So what that means is that these values here, if we are looking for someone to represent the school, we want to find the person who has the shortest time. Now they give us the times as they progress throughout the races, and then they give us an average of that time. Now if we look here for Troy, we realize we go from 10.4, 10.3, so he's going down, he's gradually going down. And then when we look at the average, it's 10.2. Let's look at Andy. Andy went from 15 seconds to 12.9, so he went down. Then 12.5, he went down. 10.5, 9.1, so he's doing good, he's going down. But look at his average. His average is 12. Let's look at Jesse. So Jesse started off at 9.4, then he went 9.6, 9.8, 10, then 10.2 seconds, but his average is 9.8. So if we're looking at the values here, you realize that he started off, doing really well, meaning that he took a little bit of time to run, and then eventually in his fourth and fifth sprints, he was slowing down a bit, meaning that he took longer. So his time now is longer than before. But when we look at this average, it looks pretty good, right? 9.8. Then we have Stacy. Stacy was fluctuating. So we have 9.6, then 11.2, then 9.4, then 11. So she was kind of back and forth between the races, right? And her average doesn't look too bad. Same thing with Chris. So Chris kind of progressively got slower in the race because his time got longer and longer as he increased. So based on all of this, what we want to see now is the one that had a progression to doing better. So far, Andy had a really good progression. He went from 15 to 12.9, then to 12.5, then 10.5, then 9.1. 9.1, if we think about it, as we look through this table, this is the shortest time that we have seen. Okay, so what does that mean? In terms of our answer, it says to state 3 reasons why an average is not a good measure. And this is why. The average score does not properly represent the student's performance over a given time. And we can see that because Andy's average is 12, but his fastest time is 9.1. Okay, so it really doesn't give an accurate representation of their performance. Another reason is that very high and very low scores affect the average and therefore does not represent the true performance of the student. And we would see that with Stacy. Stacy had some highs and lows, right? And then she still had a good enough average, 10.1, which wasn't bad, right? But overall, that would not be the best person to choose to run the race because some of her times were really long. Okay, and another one, a third reason would be that the mean score can be misleading if it deviates far from the actual value, which means that in this section here where we have average, if we take for example Andy's mark, right? Andy's average was 12, but look, he went all the way to 15 on his first sprint. He took 15 seconds, and then in his fifth sprint he took 9.1 seconds, which is actually really good. It's actually fastest of all of them. But when we look at his average, that will not give us the idea that Andy is the best person. Okay, so then they said to choose or select a student to represent the school. So I would say Andy would be a good choice to represent the school because his performance actually got better over time. All right, and he actually had the shortest time in all of the sprints, so he would actually be the best candidate for this type of race, for a sprint race, if you want him to represent the school. Okay, so these are, if you include these things or anything similar to these, you'd be able to get your 4 marks. What they're looking for in this question is to see now that you are able to know what average is and how to explain average. All right, for those of you who may not know much about um, average and what it means and all of that, you can also look at my other videos with the explanations behind mean and average, and you'll get a better understanding. All right, so just you can stay tuned for more videos, and we will be looking at some more questions as well, so feel free to drop a comment if you see any similar questions or you have any questions about what we did today. All right, so see you guys soon.